All right, welcome to another episode of the NFL Outdated Cover 2 series. This episode, we're going to be talking about the LA Chargers, and we're going to be doing the 2023 draft review and season preview. And I am joined by Chargers Truther. How are you doing?
I'm good. Excited. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And before we get started, where can everyone find you?
Just Chargers Truth on YouTube. Still trying to grow the thing. I'm been on there for like a year now, and yeah, I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I'm gonna keep doing it. So yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. And this obviously is an exciting year continuing. We have quarterback. You have a lot of, great expectations, going into this year. Chargers, it's kind of interesting. They've had some, exciting team, exciting players, just haven't quite fulfilled expectations. And so we'll kind of get into, all those things. First of all, I just wanted to start with, Justin Herbert. He is, one of the top talented quarterbacks in the NFL. When you kind of look at him, what does it mean to have him as the quarterback? Obviously, you had some solid quarterbacks with the Chargers in the past. So, what about Justin Herbert? Are you excited for?
I mean, I think it kind of goes without saying. Justin Herbert is an amazing quarterback. I truly think that he is it's going to sound crazy. I think he's already on his way to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. He maybe be is one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. I know that's like really saying a lot, but that's what my eyes are telling me. He's only finished his third year, but this guy is an amazing quarterback. I think he has the potential and the talent to do anything, everything, but to me it's really just about supporting him and building the team around him, putting him in the right situation. Quarterback is the most important position in football, but it's still a team game, and quarterback can't do it all by himself. So but I love Justin Herbert. He's like everything to us.
Well, I love the excitement for him. It's always when you look at a quarterback who's that talented, who can make all the throws. He's been able to have a lot of stats and everything like that. But obviously, you're putting yourself out there saying you can be Hall of Fame quarterback. When he's got Patrick Mahomes in the division, does that scare you at all? As far as really kind of him building the resume for that, and then even team wise to try to get past Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. Probably they're the big brother. We're chasing them. I really have a lot of respect for the Chiefs. I think they just have a good organization. They do everything right. It seems like they support Patrick Mahomes. They got the defense, they got the depth. I really like their general manager, which is, I think, a very important part about a successful team. But Tom Brady and Peyton Manning were in the same conference. They would do their battles. Peyton Manning got one. So I think that Justin Herbert can get in there and challenge Patrick Mahomes and get his. I mean, hopefully their careers are going to be long, so he'll have his chances.
Well, speaking of Herbert, then what does he have to do to kind of take that next step in 2023? I mean, he's showing all this promise. He's making all throws, but what does he have to do, like maybe leadership wise, to take the next step this year?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that, I mean, maybe be a little more clutch in the end, but I honestly think he's doing everything we need him to do. I think it's really more about the rest of the team that's not showing up. 30th ranked rush offense last season, 28th ranked rush defense. These things are killing us, and Justin Herbert can't be doing everything by himself. Yeah, we could look to Justin Herbert to be a little bit more vocal, a little bit more of a, your typical quarterback type guy, but like Philip Rivers, they're very different. But yeah, at the end of the day, Philip Rivers didn't get his Super Bowl. Unfortunately, I think a lot of it is the team around him. I guess just Justin Herbert just got to keep growing, keep maturing. He's only 25 now, so he's got a lot to grow still. So yeah, just keep growing.
And what's going to help is adding Quentin Johnson to an already, solid wide receiver crew. Obviously, we don't, Keenan Allen's, veteran, older. Williams has really shown what he can do. Talk about that group for the Chargers, and then maybe where Quentin Johnson will impact 2023.
Yeah, I mean, now we got a stacked receiver group. We got Mike Williams, big jump ball guy. We got Keenan Allen, the guy that, they might not be the fastest, but they have their strengths. Keenan Allen kind of slips in there in the middle. He can do, most routes you ask him to do. And now Quentin Johnson, I kind of see him as a little bit of both. He, has the speed. He has the youth now. He has the athleticism. He's very quick. I can see Quentin Johnson being an outside receiver, inside receiver. He has versatility, and those three guys are number one receivers really, and paired along with some other guys that we have. We have Jalen Guyton, Josh Palmer can step in, and also drafted a fast guy, Darius Davis. So yeah, we're really just stacking up this receiver group, trying to really squeeze Justin Herbert for everything he's got, I think. So I think the pass game will be good. And yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up Josh Palmer. I had him it was a deep fantasy football league, but I had him and he really, helped me out in a few weeks. And when you look at the wide receivers, obviously Allen, Williams, Johnson, what are some, with the wide receivers for the Chargers, are you just kind of going to target Allen Williams, or is Quentin Johnson going to make kind of an immediate, fantasy impact this year? Or what are you kind of looking at within the offense as far as how many touches, maybe Quentin Johnson's going to get this year?
Yeah, that's a good question. A little hard to speculate on, but I definitely expect Quentin Johnson to get a lot of targets, a lot of production. Again, like our Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are getting older, so we're probably going to try and phase away, and probably try and feed Quentin Johnson more, because this guy is going to be our receiver for the future, and probably Mike Williams and Keenan Allen aren't going to be here that much longer, at least not both of them. So yeah, I think we're going to be feeding Quentin Johnson, getting him up to speed. But again, it's not going to be like we're going to completely phase everyone out. I think we're going to be hitting everyone and just seeing what's working for us and seeing how the game goes. We're going to be trying to use all of them, I think. So I think to answer your question, it's going to be kind of even. I expect it to be kind of even, spread out between the three top receivers.
Well, yeah, I mean, if any receivers connected to a quarterback like him, you want to at least have a part of that. I mean, I love a part of any of the wide receivers that Mahomes has, because if you have a deep fantasy league, you just never know when one of them's going to pop out. And obviously, with Justin Herbert throwing the ball, there's going to be opportunities for yards and receptions and touchdowns.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you saw last season, even when Mike Williams and Keenan Allen went out, Josh Palmer stepped up. He was getting his yards. I think he was our leading receiver for a good amount of the season. He might have even been our second leading receiver on the season, if I'm remembering correctly. Also, we had DeAndre Carter, like a smaller guy. He was getting his yards and touchdowns, and we were going to Gerald Everett, the tight end, which is another area I think we can be better in. But Justin Herbert makes plays. He can make it work with whoever's really out there. He's a great quarterback. But obviously, you give him great, really good receivers, he's going to do even better. So yeah, I think we're super excited for all this stuff going on.
And speaking of making it work, Austin Eckler, I love this story, just kind of how he, burst onto the scene, and just I love how he's really interacted with the media, and he's just always out there. Now he had an interesting, contract kind of situation this year. Talk about him in 2023, and is this going to be the Eckler show again?
Yeah, I think that might be the biggest storyline for the Chargers this offseason. Austin Eckler, I truly think, is our best offensive weapon. Running backs touch the ball second most behind quarterbacks and centers, I guess. Production monster. He scored 18 touchdowns last season only, our leading yardage maker. And, the running back market has been super tough this offseason, and maybe even last offseason, I don't know, but super tough this offseason. And I guess it's just the way of the business. But honestly, I would love to re-sign Austin Eckler, pay him a little bit more. I know he's getting a little older, but I just have this thing where, I want to respect and reward our hardworking players, and that's going to generate an aura or energy around this team where players want to play for us. That's what we want. We want players to want to play for us. So now Austin Eckler is, has felt a little disrespected. He's trying to play it cool now, which is very respectable. But the reality is, he's got to have something in the back of his mind where he's like, I'm going to finish this season and I'm going to get out. I'm not liking this organization, and I just don't think that that's a recipe for success. Although he's a great player, he's got great mentality. Like, he's just a great player, and I expect him to also do very well this offseason because he's trying to get a new contract next season wherever he goes. I don't know if he's going to be as productive, but I expect him to be similarly productive, very, very productive. So, yeah, love Austin Eckler.
Yeah, he's just such a multi-talented player, and obviously when you look at the Chargers, run game, the offensive line is helpful as well. Are you at all worried about the offensive line for the Chargers this year?
Yeah, of course I am. We have good starters. I can name them all. We've got a pretty good starting lineup. Last year we had injuries. We lost our starting left tackle, lost maybe a couple other guys. But again, we had the 28th rush offense the 30th ranked rush offense last year, 30th yards per carry, just atrocious numbers. And all we did to this offensive line was draft a 1/5 round offensive lineman. He seemed like a good guy, but I just don't think it's really enough to this offensive line. I'm very concerned about our backups. It's a 17-game season, 5 guys on the offensive line. Chances are someone's going to get hurt, at least one guy, probably multiple throughout the season. So I'm concerned about our backups. Obviously, you can't expect your backups to be starter level, but I don't know. Good teams have plan B and, good backups to rely on. And that's where I'm concerned about this team. Everything's good at the start of the season when you got your starting lineup, everything's looking good. But, when things go wrong, things happen, then you really see what kind of team you have, and we saw last year we were thin, and, we're going to see what happens this year. So I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, I mean, you can draft and develop, offensive linemen late in the draft, right? But really, you still need that top level talent in the top of the draft. And I'm a Bears fan. I know that. I mean, you have to have that somewhere, at least to anchor that line. I mean, with Rashawn Slater, it's huge, but yeah, I mean, you need to have that line to be successful. And just the whole offense, passing offense, just giving, Justin Herbert time, everything needs to gel with that offensive line. Otherwise, you're not going to have time. The offense is going to stall and all that.
Absolutely. And, again, like with the rush offense, that's what we saw. We, run the ball first down, get 1 yard, 2 yards, have to throw the ball, maybe make it, maybe don't. And, it just really puts so much pressure on this quarterback really to overcome these shortcomings. And a lot of it is the offensive line. If you have an offensive line where you could run the ball, your offense is going to be running so much smoother. You're just going to be like matriculating down the field, and it's like a car engine. I see the offensive line in the run game as the oil you put in your car engine. You could have a great car engine, but you need to lubricate it. You need to take care of it and have it running well, and there's a lot of components to all this stuff. So yeah, you need that offensive line. That's the heart and soul pretty much of the whole team, of the offense.
Well, speaking of the heart and soul, the team, you got players and everything, but what are your thoughts on the head coach, Brandon Staley? I mean, it was a tough end of the season. I mean, there was a lot of promise, and then the Jaguars come storming back. So what are your expectations for him, and what's the fan temperature around him as the head coach of the leader of the Chargers?
I like Brandon Staley. I do. I like his guts, his player relations. I think he's a good leader of men. I think the players like him. The problem with this Chargers franchise, I'm going to have to pull the sheets off, or whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
It's our general manager, I think, Tom Telesco, who's in his 11th season with no real success. He's only won 2 wild card games in 10 years now. and just very bad numbers in the trenches, very bad numbers, rush offense, rush defense. And I just see, he's on his third head coach now, Brandon Staley, and I see Brandon Staley trying to kind of overcome these shortcomings from that management. And I like Brandon Staley. He's aggressive, good leader of men. I know a lot of fans are mad at him. A lot of fans are very angry about whatever dumb play. He has made some bad bad choices, specifically playing Mike Williams in that week 18 game versus the Broncos where he got injured. Yeah, of course, that was pretty dumb. I mean, yeah, he's trying to be aggressive. I can kind of see that. I kind of appreciate being an aggressive team, not being a conservative, timid team, like let's go get it. But shot ourselves in the foot there, really hurt us. Could have used him in that game. Also, we had a week 2 game versus the Chiefs where we were like going to take the lead, and our tight end wanted to come out. He didn't let him come out, and then he kind of was gassed on the play, ended up being a pick 6, game changer, lost that game. So, Brandon Staley, very controversial. I like him because I like someone with guts, and I hope that he learns from his mistakes, and we push even further into this next season. Yeah, that playoff game was atrocious and very hard to watch. So let's learn and get better, I guess.
Well, I guess here's a question then. Just kind of where you're gauging just the hot seat. If the Chargers don't make the playoffs, the GM and head coach are still around in 2024. Yes or no?
I say the GM definitely has to go if he doesn't make the playoffs. He's got to go. He's in his 11th year. Staley, I would like to see what he can do under a new general manager. But just the way it seems, I think I'd have to say they both leave because I guess he's kind of tied to the hip. They're tied to the hip, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean that often happens with GM and head coach. You just sometimes if something's not working, they just want to clean house. It is tough to do that when you look at it when you have a talented quarterback like Justin Herbert to just say, okay, we're gonna clean house because then he's got to learn a new system and all of that, and that makes a difference to young quarterbacks. I think. I mean, even older veterans take a little bit of time to adjust.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a concern. We're all on a time clock. We're not going to live forever. Justin Herbert's not going to play forever. So we're kind of, if we can't figure things out, we got to, I don't know, try to start changing things, try and figure it out. And it's a balance between, do we stick with this and see how long, if we could, have some confidence and ride it out, it's going to maybe lead us somewhere, or no, let's cut our losses. Let's scrap it, start over again. Let's try something else. In my opinion, look, Brandon Staley's finished his 3rd year. He has a winning record. Our general manager finished his 10th year, has a losing record. So, I think win-loss records are very telling actually for everyone, really. At least quarterbacks, coaches, managers, owners. So, if you have a losing record over that long, I think it's time to go. So, yeah.
Well, hopefully, when you look at the Chargers, draft picks, they added some needs that can be impact right away. We already talked about Quentin Johnson. When you look at some of their picks, were you surprised by some of them? And where are some of the, later round ones that you see making the most impact in 2023?
No, I think that we addressed some serious needs. Going into the draft, I said that our top needs probably maybe in order: running back, which we didn't address, which was my biggest problem; offensive line, depth; defensive line; and inside linebacker. Just in the box, rush game, rush defense. And we did address 1 offensive lineman, 2 defensive linemen, and 1 inside linebacker. So again, we had horrible rush defense last season. I can kind of see what the GM is doing here, Tom Telesco, going after some defensive box players to try and shore this up. I like those picks, Thule, Diane Henley, and we got Matlock in the 6th round. Just adding to this
Mhm.
team. That's probably what I would do too. Although, um, if I'm gonna nitpick, I would probably go after more SEC players. I want Alabama. I want Georgia. I want physical guys that are gonna hit. These guys are coming from, I think, the Pac-12 or something like that. Not a
Mhm.
big, super big college guy, but USC, Washington State. Not saying that they're not hitters or not super aggressive, but I would have liked to go SEC, but
I was to say it does make a difference week in and week out when you have that going against that top talent. I mean, I'm a Big Ten guy, and I love my Big Ten, love my Iowa Hawkeyes, but when it comes to the championship round, it just seems like the SEC. I mean, they're prepared for those championship rounds of football in college, even.
yeah, and it's the top division or whatever conference in college football. They're the biggest dudes. They get the most draft
Mhm.
pick. They're the most often drafted. Uh, I see them as the strongest, the most physical. And the thing with the Chargers is we just always lack physicality. We kind of seem like we're a little timid. We think that we can just throw the ball over your head, but sometimes you just got to smash and just hit the other team. It's physical. It's violent. It's not a kids friendly game. No, like there's guys getting seriously injured every week. You need to be violent. So if I was running the team, obviously I'm not, probably for a reason or whatever. I believe in myself though, but I would be going after SEC guys. I want D linemen, linebackers, running back, offensive linemen, all those nasty guys from SEC. Just inject that into our team, and we can transform. So, but that being said, I do have faith in these guys. Just because you're not from SEC doesn't mean you're not going to be a good player. Um, so yeah, a lot of hope for these guys. But regarding the draft, I would have gotten a running back. I really would have.
Yeah, I mean that it doesn't. When you look at the NFL now, most teams are doing a running back by committee approach, and you always got to keep developing, especially with the situation they have with Eckler. So I don't know, maybe it wouldn't surprise you if in season they try to get sign one of these other free agents. I don't know, Dalvin Cook or something like that. But if those players would take a little bit of a discount, eventually.
Yeah, yeah, and I would love that if I was running the team. That's the first thing I would do is sign a running back who's proven he can do it, who's proven he can be productive. Eckler is a smaller guy. He's not a workhorse back. It's obvious, but although in his role, he's incredibly great, at what he does. Just he needs another guy to be a power back to complement him like thunder and lightning. That's very deadly. So I don't expect our GM to get another running back for a number of reasons. One, he's pretty conservative. Two, he's kind of banking on his draft picks that he's drafted in the past. He drafted Josh Kelly and Isaiah Spiller. These are young running backs. I want to be optimistic. I really hope that they show up and improve and become studs and really productive. But I need to see it to believe it. Josh Kelly didn't even rush for 300 yards. Isaiah Spiller only rushed for 41 yards on the season. Again, trying to be optimistic. I'm not saying cut them, but let's just be aggressive and fix this rush offense. Go get a running back and just have the four of them. What's wrong with that? People say, "Oh, the cap space. We're gonna get ourselves into cap hell," but you can make it work. And I'm not going to wait another year of our lives and just say, oh, we should have done that. Let's just do it.
Is there pressure, being in obviously the same arena as the LA Rams? They did it. They pushed all in. Now they kind of face some issues, but they have the championship to prove it, and that's really what you're working for an organization with an organization. Is there a little pressure, because the Rams did it already?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the Rams clearly showed that it can work, and it's probably a good idea to do that. Um, and I think we kind of tried to go like all in last season. We got J.C. Jackson and Khalil Mack.
Mhm.
Khalil Mack was cool. JC. I was never really worried about our pass defense. Again, rush offense, rush defense is what I'm more concerned about. But again, the Chargers have a reputation for a reason. Our owners, our managers, I don't know how serious they are about winning or changing their ways or being aggressive or being, proactive. They kind of seem like we're just okay with just, sitting back and hoping that we get a miracle or something like that. Yeah, we got Justin Herbert, but I'd like to see us do more. And if something isn't working, you change it. And regarding the general manager, if this guy's not making it work, you change it. And let's be aggressive and let's try something else and do it until it works. And is there pressure? Yeah, there's always pressure, especially sharing the stadium, with the Rams. But we already have a bad reputation. So what's really going to happen?
What's the bad reputation?
That the Chargers have a reputation for disappointing, for not reaching their potential, and we have a term called chargering, where we give up leads. You just saw it last season. The 3 seasons before, we had off-season hype. We didn't even make the playoffs. Look, I love this team, and I think we have the potential to win a Super Bowl. But you have to be more aggressive. You have to be more proactive and really go for these things, not just hope that things are going to turn out. Let's just go make the moves. Like, there's moves to be made, but we're not doing it, So, yeah, I mean, I want to see us again. I'm kind of going in a loop now, but just real quick, my last point on this. If we were to get SEC players like that and become more physical, it'll go a long way in changing a reputation, because physical players aren't, they believe in themselves. They're not going to just crumble at them. They're going to, you could rely on physicality a lot in football.
Yeah, I feel like, that's, I mean, not to, open an old wound, but I feel like that's what the Jaguars, I mean, defensively, they really kind of led, the defense led the Jaguars late in the season. And obviously the talk is about Trevor Lawrence and everything like that, but their defense is, no joke. And obviously they're very physical and all that. And I think that helped as well. But when you look at the Chargers defense, they've got some physical players. Joey Bosa, Big Ten guy. Obviously Khalil Mack, former Bear. You talked about a weakness being the rush defense. So talk a little bit about some of the weaknesses and maybe strengths of this defense in 2023.
Yeah. Well, again, it goes to depth. When players go out, you need the backups to step up. And the way I see it, you need to fill out the depth pieces with physical, big, strong guys that are going to just, if you're not that good of a football player, at least be physical. So I think that's something we lack, is physicality in our depth. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, and Derwin James, these guys are great. They're great players. But we need to surround them with more of that physicality and stuff. I think our strengths are, our edge rushers. I think our strength is our pass defense. We're pretty good in the pass defense, but it's the rush. It's the interior, inside linebackers, our interior of the D line. We have some decently good players in there, but our strengths are in the outside, edge rushers, cornerbacks, safety, I'd like to see us invest more in defensive tackle, inside linebacker. And we kind of did that in the draft, but I'd like to see us change the way we do it. I'd rather be strong in the inside than the outside. And I know it's a passing league, but we've been doing this for too long, and I'd like to see some change, inside, build from the inside out, I think.
Yeah, you have to be able to stop, or at least I mean, no one really fully stops Patrick Mahomes, but at least put him at bay, so you're able to hopefully score more points than them in the end. Now, when you look at this year, I mean, we talked about playoffs, expectations, and when you look at the schedule, what are your expectations, kind of realistically, win loss? I'm not sure if you've kind of gone, game by game, and what are you kind of looking at this point of the off season?
Yeah, I mean, I expect a similar season to last season. I don't think we really made that much changes. Yeah, we got Kellen Moore, who is hopefully going to help us open up our offense and help the rush game and become more balanced. But realistically, I see us pretty similar to last season. If I was to guess, I'm gonna say another 10-7 season, maybe 11-6, and going 1-1 in the playoffs. I think that's pretty realistic for us. I'd like to, maybe we get lucky, maybe we do a little bit better, maybe we get unlucky, we do a little bit worse though. Um, so again, just rough expectations. That's what I am thinking. Maybe we can make a playoff push. Even who knows? I'm not a fortune teller or whatever, but yeah, I expect 10-7 or 11-6, 1-1 in the playoffs. Realistic.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it; it's out there. You have a quarterback like Justin Herbert. You have the talent that they have on offense. It's definitely out there. Regardless, if they finish first or second in the division, they have that opportunity to get in the playoffs. When you look at obviously the AFC is going to be tough, but they have that opportunity. And when you look at some of the games on the schedule, other than division, games. What are some games that worry you the most?
Um,
I mean, they start
well,
off with Miami.
I think we'll win that game.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but again, I think it's the top teams. It's the Chiefs,
Yeah.
pretty much. I mean, I want to be the team that's we're not scared of any other team. We could we'll go take on whoever,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that really just starts with the Chiefs. That's who I'm really thinking about.
Well, and you look at with the Chargers, they do play the NFC North this year, and being a Bears fan, I think the Chargers, are going. They have enough to beat the Bears. I like what I see in Justin Fields. Obviously, there's another more growth that needs to happen, and we'll see what DJ Moore is. But they should beat the Packers at Green Bay, right?
Think so, yeah.
Lions are going to be tough. What are your thoughts on Denver within the division?
Yeah, Denver is interesting because they got Russell Wilson last year. We thought that they were going to be, very good. They
Mm-hmm.
came out. I think they were like last in the division or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Really didn't turn out well. Now they got Sean Payton, the head coach, so that is a lot of gives them a lot of hope and a lot of optimism. Could change everything. We'll see. He's a Super Bowl winner. He's a great head coach, I think. But it could go either way. I still think that we can beat them. They have a good defense, good solid core, whatever. But I think that we're a good team too. Maybe we split with them 1-1. I think another thing is that good teams and bad teams in the NFL are not that far off. The difference is not that much. There's trap games all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say we go maybe 1-1 with them. I don't see us going 0-2 to them though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do like the Broncos defense. I think they're going to be better than a lot of people think. I think I actually, when I went through my Bears schedule, I think the Broncos are going to beat the Bears. But we'll see division what they can do. Within division, you're not worried about the Raiders, are you?
No.
Yeah. Well, we don't know what Jimmy G is going to be like. We don't know. Josh McDaniels. I think he's going to be fired pretty soon.
Yeah. And I'll just say no because they beat us last year, but I think losing Derek Carr, that's kind of a step down for them. Jimmy G, he did go to the Super Bowl. Maybe he does well, but I think they're kind of dysfunctional, and I need to see them, do something good before I'm really gonna, these guys are not really in my mind for next season.
Well, speaking of being in your mind, do you go to training camp at all?
No, I'd love to, but I live in San Jose. I'm not in SoCal.
So a
Yeah.
little bit further away, but obviously you'll be watching and from afar. So what are some story lines that you're looking at? You talk about defensively, offensively. What are you really kind of focused on to see progress as the season approaches?
Well, one thing would be the running backs. Josh
Mhm.
Kelly and Isaiah Spiller. How is Austin Eckler looking? How does he look like? Is he smiling? Does he look like he's in a good mood? Those are big things. Mentality is huge. So, how's our running backs looking? I guess receivers, I'm not really worried about receivers. How's the tight ends looking? Mainly
Mhm.
our weaknesses, our backup offensive linemen. Are these guys, really, they look like they're in great shape? Are they pushing each other? They look solid. Defensively, defensive tackles, I guess, are, just looking who's in shape. As far as camp battles go, I'm mainly looking at our inside linebackers. We did get Eric Kendricks and
Mhm.
the rookie Diane Henley. How is Diane Henley going to look? Is this guy going to, try and get that starting position over Kenneth Murray? Though Kenneth Murray is in a contract year, I expect a good Kenneth Murray to come out. His best version, I expect. We'll see, though. And then the free safety position, we have Alohi Gilman and now second-year player JT Woods, who didn't really do anything last season. We're looking for him to, step up and grow and maybe push for that starting role. That free safety position is a question mark for us. So yeah, I'd say running back, tight end, inside linebacker, and free safety.
Yeah, and in this training camp, then as far as Kellen Moore coming as well, do you think he's going to show you a lot of what he may do with maybe some of the running backs and wide receivers as well in training camp?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it'll be nice to see, how things are different now with Kellen Moore. We'll see in the training camp what plays they're installing, what how they're running, how this offense is moving around, and what plays they're doing. What are they doing with the running backs? Last year, I think we did a lot of like hitches and short routes with Justin Herbert. Maybe that was because we didn't have a run game, though. Maybe it's because that's how the offense was designed. But I'd like to see us, be more creative in the offense and looking for good things. Like we have a lot of good hopes for Kellen Moore. So yeah, I'm looking at how the offense is going to be running differently, and I think you will be able to see a little bit of that in training camp.
Well, Kellen Moore, I think, is going to be circling week 6, October 16th versus the Cowboys. I think that's going to be an interesting one to watch. He's going to want to beat his former team, isn't he?
Oh, for sure. I mean, who wouldn't? And I think Cowboys are good. They had a pretty good season last year. I think they have higher hopes now. They have a good team, a lot of good players on their team, but I think we could beat them. Justin Herbert is a better quarterback, and I think we can do it. It'll be close though. Could go either way, but I would put our money on. I would put my money on the Chargers.
Speaking of that, are you ready to put your money on the Chargers going to the Super Bowl yet?
This season?
Yeah.
No, I'll put my money on the Chiefs.
Yeah. That's
Realistically, I would love it though, obviously.
and that's hard because I was one this year, and I will admit I picked the Chiefs to be last in the division last year because you look at it and they lost a ton of wide receivers, right? But really, Patrick Mahomes is that guy. He's kind of approaching, GOAT status, just
Oh yeah.
what he can do. But also recently it's come up in, media about how just how good Andy Reid is as well, coach wise, and that he can be in that GOAT, status. And when you look at the Chargers, I mean, they've got a quarterback to at least compete. So when you look at it, the Chiefs, how long of a season it was for them last year, I think that may be a factor,
Mhm.
but the Chargers at least can compete, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and we do with the Chiefs every year. It's all about getting over that hump and actually getting that win.
Mhm.
We play close with them. We're a good team. We know, I think, how the Chiefs work. But the thing with the Chiefs is they're just a great franchise. They're run
Mhm.
great. I think a lot of people don't understand or don't think about the importance of the general manager. They have Brett
Mhm.
Veach, and if you look at him, this guy is getting 10 win seasons at least every single season. He's made the playoffs every single season he's been there, just doing a killer job at what he does. Won 2 Super Bowls, lost one. He's always close, except his first year, lost in the wild card. I looked at it yesterday, and if you compare that to the Chargers general manager, this guy is having below average, records. He's barely scraping into the playoffs here and there. Just doesn't seem like he knows what he's doing. Yeah, Mahomes is great, obviously, but again, and so is Justin Herbert. But it all goes back to the environment he's in, the team he's with. Who his coach, his general manager, the players around him, and what's going on with that. The belief that the team has and the culture. I think that's the biggest thing with the Chiefs.
Well, I love your point there on just kind of general manager and supporting quarterbacks, supporting players, just everybody kind of working together. I wanted to ask, I'm a Bears fan. I wanted to ask your thoughts on Justin Fields and where do you think he is and what he might do in 2023?
I think he's a good player. I think he's maybe the level of Tua. Maybe I'd say, obviously not Justin Herbert level or anything like that, but maybe it's the team around him. I don't know. The Bears have seemed pretty dysfunctional in the past, I don't know, decade or so, if I'm correctly.
It's been the general manager as well. Yep.
Yeah, it really, the general manager has his hands on this thing, on the teams. It really all goes back to him. I think we really all need to remember that. But yeah, Justin Fields, I think he's a great athlete for sure. He's a good quarterback, good thrower. I think he can make steps, but I think we need to see more out of him as a passer to really be sold on him. I don't think I think the jury's still out. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Jury's still out. Yeah, haven't made a decision. Yeah, I would agree. You look at Justin Herbert; he can make throws in those tight windows, and that's what you want from your quarterback. Obviously, that's kind of what Justin Fields needs to improve on. It helps kind of surrounding, with the surrounding cast. But yeah, I think when you look at, quarterback hierarchy, Justin Herbert is definitely head and shoulders right now better than Fields. And so it'll be interesting as far as, some of the quarterbacks trajectory. I mean, when you look at the NFC versus the AFC, and this may be in the long run, we look 10 years down the road, some of these quarterbacks in the AFC, maybe Justin Herbert may be hurt by just all of the competition on the AFC side.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, we got now Aaron Rodgers too. We got Mahomes, Allen, Burrow. It's like, wow, it's going to be tough to get to the Super Bowl. But great quarterbacks win, great teams win, no matter what. And Fields, the Bears are in a very winnable division. You still got the 49ers and the Eagles, who are still very good teams. So yeah, I mean, he could. Who knows? At the end of the day, winning is the only thing that matters. So if he wins, Jalen Hurts, I don't think was that great of a quarterback. He's pretty dang good, but I don't think he was a Patrick Mahomes or a Justin Herbert type. But again, win's a win. That's really all that matters.
And they surrounded Jalen Hurts with AJ Brown, and I think that helps as well.
Yeah, definitely. There's like so many factors in football. I feel like a lot of times people want to just boil it down to like, oh, who's the quarterback? Who's the coach? Who's the receivers? Like, who's the general manager? Who's the backups? Who's your running back? Who's your defense? Who's your linebackers? Who's your backups? Who's your coach? Everything. All this stuff matters,
Well, this has been fantastic. I definitely appreciate you coming on. Where can everyone find you again?
Just Chargers Truther on YouTube. I really appreciate anyone who's still sticking around to go check that out and help me out.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be an exciting time. This is an exciting time of the year for everybody off season as things are kind of gearing up. I know my son's a huge Justin Herbert fan. And we actually went to the draft. He wore his Charger jersey in Kansas City. It was interesting. We'll just say that.
Oh yeah. And let me, if I may make a final point about the Chargers, I think this team has so much potential. I really think that Justin Herbert can win us a Super Bowl. And that's why I'm being critical on this team because, we shouldn't just expect to just scrape into the playoffs. Like Super Bowl is the bar. That's what we need to be, expecting really. And again, I think we can do it. We need to make the right moves. We need to be critical. We need to not make excuses. So love this team. And I think that hopefully that Justin Herbert can bring us a Super Bowl. So yeah.
So to say, I love that because I feel like you can be a fan of your team and be critical because it's just about being honest about the needs of your team, and where they need to improve. You rather than just saying, okay, my team is awesome, your team stinks. I mean, you want to see your team win, but you also want to see them continuing to compete at the highest level year in and year out. And obviously, you want to win a Super Bowl, but you want to be in that conversation. And to do that, you have to kind of look at where things need to improve.
Yeah, you got to be realistic, and if you're
Mhm.
just gonna, make excuses and stuff like that, you're not gonna, you're gonna get the same thing, and you're not really gonna get any better. So, gotta be real with it.
All great stuff. Thanks again. Once again, this is Chargers Truther. This was the NFL Outdated Cover 2 series on the LA Chargers 2023 season. I look forward to a great season. And is it bolt up?
Yeah, bolt up. Thank you for having me.
Thanks again.